This quick short course is to show you how to find fully funded PhD programs using Google. Full funding for a PhD means that the university, when you are accepted to the program, will offer you a package that includes full tuition remission and an annual stipend, usually for 3 to 5 years of the program. So many PhD programs will indicate whether or not they offer full funding. Sometimes they'll say it's fully funded or full support. There's a couple different terms for it. But for the most part, when we talk about full funding, we mean the full tuition scholarship plus an annual stipend. So often people come to Profello looking for fully funded programs. We have a great series online of fully funded PhD programs. But today I want to show you how to do your own research into full funding programs using Google. So if you go to google.com, I want to use an example that came up in the academy here recently. Someone asked, how do I find fully funded PhD programs in soil science? Now, soil science is a subdiscipline of a lot of broader disciplines. But let's say we just go into google.com and we start our search with soil science, the first thing I want you to do is just put in PhD, put in your subdiscipline that you're interested in, soil science, and then in quotes, you should put full funding. And in the search, you can see sort of what comes up. And depending on what subdiscipline that you've put into here, you'll get different results. So in some cases, they'll show graduate opportunities. This is at a Swedish university, student position PhDs in Germany. Let's say you're only looking for opportunities in the United States. These will come up as well. And I'm sorry, actually, we're on page 2, as I was already looking. But if I did a Google search, I found in here on this first page, I found a plant and soil science graduate program at the University of Massachusetts. And the first thing you want to do if you're looking at some of these pages is just to see where they said that you receive full funding. So they'll talk about how to apply, and all the way down here, they'll talk about the financial aid. And it says PhD students generally receive up to 5 years of financial support in a combination of research and teaching assistantships and fellowships. So this means the assistantships are generally like university jobs. But the beauty of the assistantship is that it not only provides you a stipend or salary, it also will cover all, if not part, if not all of your tuition. So some PhD students receive these assistantships. But this is the language that you're looking for when you're looking on the university websites, where they say students receive up to 5 years of financial support. And so that means that when you come in, you'll receive full funding or scholarships from outside groups. So this is the kind of language that you want to look for. If you don't see anything in there about full funding, full support, financial support, it might mean that they expect you to pay out of pocket for your tuition and to cover your own living expenses. So don't assume that they offer it unless they indicate otherwise. But also, once you read this is relatively brief. You might also want to go contact the university and learn more about what percentage of students receive full funding, what's the likelihood of getting funding. Just make sure you fully understand what they mean by financial support, because it may not be full financial support, it may be partial financial support. But let's just go back here. So we found one here, University of Massachusetts, that has a plant and soil science graduate program. And I found another one down here, Boston University. This is still on the first page of Google. They have a PhD program in earth and environment that has a soil subdiscipline, soil science subdiscipline. And also here they say the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences guarantees 5 years of full funding for PhD students. And you receive a combination of assistantships, teaching fellowships, and other internal and external graduate scholarships. So this is the language that you're looking for: full funding, fully funded, full financial support. So that's just another one. I want to note here, though, that it's not a PhD in soil science. It's a PhD in earth and environment. So if you use a subdiscipline for your search, a much more narrow discipline like soil science, you actually might be cutting out a broader search that will cover soil sciences. So in some cases, probably in most cases, your PhD would be in environmental science. So as you're doing your search here, you can start with the subdiscipline, but take careful note of what programs, what are the broader disciplines that soil science is falling under. So You might find PhD in environmental science, do the full funding. And actually, one of the first articles you'll come across is a pro fellow one, the fully funded PhD programs in environmental conservation. And so we've done a little bit of work for you and listed some programs that we found that have full funding. These are primarily in the US and sometimes in other countries. Now, I just want to mention, these lists are not exhaustive. Usually we'll put in there anywhere from 5 to 10 programs, but this is not the exhaustive list. So it's really important for you to also do your own research. You'll see also, again, as you go down through a few, Columbia University has full funding is available for all PhD students at their Environmental Health Sciences program. Stanford's School in California of Earth, Energy, and Science, PhD, they have full funding to pursue a graduate education. So if you look at these more deeply, you'll begin to find full funding. Again, Princeton University, School of Engineering and Applied Science, a different name for the discipline, receives full funding. So make sure you do your Google search. I also want to show you another way of getting about finding full funding opportunities and PhD positions using Google Scholar. So if let's say soil science is the area that you're interested in, I would suggest going to scholar.google.com, which is a search engine specifically for academic papers, white papers, and other research. It's almost like a library search engine. I put in here, I put in soil science, and I also tried agronomy soil science just to see what would come up. And often you'll get articles from all different years. You may even be getting articles from 20 years ago, which will be less helpful for your search for current PhD programs. So I say the first thing you do is you put in your subdiscipline, and this can be as niche as you like, and then also select something like since 2018 or even since 2017, just to get the most recently published articles. Then when you get into this view, you can kind of see some of the latest research that's been published in the field. And in some cases, the names of the authors will be linked. And I did a little research. I was looking at some of these folks, Bolin, Crowley, and I came across here to this person who wrote about soil biodiversity. And I was looking at this professor, the range of articles that she wrote on soil science. She's clearly a professor of soil science. She's a professor at the Arizona State University. So then sometimes these links are not linked. They may go to here, but sometimes it doesn't directly take you to Arizona State University. So what I suggest doing is just copying this, pasting that into Google. And when I did my search, I found Professor Heather Throop's page at the School of Life Sciences. So Arizona State has a School of Life Sciences, and this is a professor that's doing research in soil science who could potentially make a great PhD supervisor if you're looking to work in that area. So then the next thing I did was look at the degree programs available. And I see that they have undergraduate, graduate certificates, graduate PhD, and a master's program. Just looking at the graduate PhD programs, she's in the School of Life Sciences. So I'm going to look here, Environmental Life Sciences. And you will see they have a PhD program in Environmental Life Sciences. And then I go right here, you can read more about the program, but I just went right to financial aid to see what the situation is. And it says here, all PhD students admitted to the graduate program in the School of Life Sciences are offered a teaching or research assistantship. They're renewable for 4 years. This includes a stipend, health insurance, and tuition remission for the required 84 credit hours. It says PhD students are 100% funded for 5 years. This is a full funding package. So even though this website doesn't use the term full funding, this particular university, Arizona State, does have full funding for their students. So I wouldn't rely completely on this Google strategy of doing full funding, because this Arizona State page may not have come up because we don't have that specific term. But this is another way to find full funding programs, is to first find the professors who are doing the research in these areas, and then tracking to what universities that they're based at, and then seeing if they offer a fully funded PhD program. So in this case, Arizona State does have a fully funded PhD program through which you can do research in soil science. So I hope this just gives you a little indicator. You can also use a strategy for looking for master's programs that offer assistantships Master's students can also receive full funding through assistantships. So this is another strategy to do that. So I hope this gave you a little indicator, little test on how to find fully funded PhD programs using Google Scholar.